පූජනීය වන්දනීය අති ගෞරවනීය මහා සංඝරත්නයන් අවසරයි. Our special guest speakers are Venerable Bodhicitta Theri from Australia and Venerable Bodhi Theri from Thailand. Winner Poya Day holds special significance for Buddhists in the world. 500 ladies, including Maha Prajapati Gautami, were ordained with the permission of the Buddha to initiate the Bhikkhuni Sasana. Yeah. All of you who join us in making time for Buddhist Summit are warmly welcome. What the Buddha taught. Bhikku and Bhikkuni face many challenges, problems, issues, temptations, and responsibilities in modern society. It may hinder the ability to advance the Dhamma effectively to our society. This is an open discussion of today's social status of Bhikkhuni and how they were addressed in Buddha's time. In 429 AD, Bhikkhuni Devasara Theri had realized that Bhikkhuni Sanga, on an account of war and food shortages, could vanish from Sri Lanka. Bhikkhuni Devasara Theri therefore had led a mission to China to establish the Bhikkhuni Sasana. The original Theravada Bhikkhuni lineage established in China since 430 AD has continued function to this day. The method was based on a model of dual ordination from Sri Lanka to China and the idea of returning of that gift from China, Taiwan, Korea to Sri Lanka. In 1988, international ordination of 200 Bhikkhuni in Southern California. For example, Venerable Bhikkhuni Tathaloka Mahatheri is an American-born member of the Buddhist Bhikkhuni Sanga. She entered monastic life in 1988 and received Bhikkhuni Upasampada in full ordination with the Sri Lankan Sangha in California in 1997. With the late Venerable Evanpola Ratanasara Mahathera as preceptor. So, kleshas in Buddhism are mental status that cloud the mind and manifest in unwholesome actions. Kleshas include status of mind such as anxiety, fear, anger, jealousy, desire, and depression. Dukkha, suffering associated with Buddhism, impermanence and not self, unpleasant or pleasant experience, find ourselves clinging to experiences. The suffering may be relatively easy to see. So I have the honor to invite both Venerable Bodhicitta Theri from Australia and Venerable Bodhi from Thailand. So I will be directing the same question for both Bhikkhunis, maybe about 10 minutes for each question. What methods, procedures, and solutions should the Buddhist Bhikku Bhikkhuni to follow? The Buddhist Sanga's role in the advancement and welfare of the world. So first I would invite Venerable Bhikkhuni Bodhicitta to explain to us what methods, procedures, and solutions should the Buddhist Bhikku Bhikkhuni to follow to advance the role of the welfare of the world on a background setting with Bhikkhuni Sasana. Avasarai, Swami Bhikshuni.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Sorry. Please excuse me for wearing the hat. It's very cold here. And if the head gets cold, I will have a runny nose. The COVID-19 team will then come and take me to do COVID testing. So please excuse me. So it's a discussion. And first, I'm really honored to be here today to share our knowledge with you. And I also welcome all of you to the discussion. Glad to see there's another Venerable joining in, and hope we can share the ideas. And also I would like to thank our Visitor Lira Ratna brother for organizing this session. And he's working very hard to propagate the Buddha Dhamma all around the world. So I would really like to thank him for what he's doing to help and resurrect this Bhikkhuni order, and also to spread the Buddha Sasana. So I think first I would like to actually invite our Venerable. I actually would also like to know where are you from, and how did you get to know about the session, and maybe you can go first and then I can talk, because I can talk anytime. And so I would like to invite her to go first. So would you like Venerable to talk first?
Oh, okay, I'll introduce myself, not so much to talk, but about the topic, but just introduce myself. I'm a Malaysian. I was ordained as a seminary in Thailand, and I received my higher ordination in Sri Lanka with Theri Sumitra as my Upadhyaya. And that was 5 years ago. So this will be my 5th Vasa. So when it's completed, this will be my 5th Vasa. And since I was ordained in Thailand, I have been staying in Thailand ever since. And then with another Bhikkhuni called Bhikkhuni Bodhicitta, she her family donated a piece of land to her in the north of Thailand, in Mesai. So where we together work together to establish a monastery called Analaya Bhikkhuni Arama. About three years ago. We started working on it about 3 years ago. And I'm joining this session because I saw it at publicized in the Facebook. So I thought it's very good to celebrate today or yesterday, you know, the Bhikkhuni Day. You know, I signed in to listen rather than to give a talk. So so my presence here does not represent any particular group. My presence here is participation as an individual Bhikkhuni, not representing any group from any country or any monastery. So please, Venerable Bodhicitta, I return the mic to you.
Thank you very much. So would you like to share your ideas first, that what our mediator was asking about? Puthe, you can invite her first, give her first chance, and then I can later wrap it up. So let's give her the first chance to talk.
But I would like Venerable Bodhicitta to enlighten us first, because I'm coming here to actually just listen in, and then see if I can contribute in any way. Then I will do so. So please, Venerable Bodhicitta, so please proceed.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So answering to that question, or actually, like you said, it's an opportunity to really commemorate the Bhikkhuni Sasana, the beginning of the establishing the Bhikkhuni Sasana. So it's a good opportunity to commemorate. So I think before we should talk about the modern times, I think we should understand the historical events. What happened during the Buddha's time, and also the social setup, how it was. Then we can see how important and significant it is for the womankind, for them being able to go forth. They're receiving this ordination, they're receiving into the Sanga, which was the highest noble thing that anyone could have ever received, to become a son or a daughter of the Buddha. So let's go to Buddha's time, and then we can understand the context of how it all began and how much effort Buddha had taken to establish this, how he waited for the right time, and how Mahapajapati Gautami Therani played a very important role in establishing this. So we all can appreciate this, because today there are rumors where people think, oh, Buddha didn't want to give the ordination for the ladies. He was reluctant, they say. And some say because this Bhikkhuni lineage was established, it's not a good thing for the Buddha Sasana. It's going to hinder the spread of Buddhism. And like that, there is many wrong beliefs spreading in our modern societies. So we need to understand where these coming from and why. So then we can really understand what's happening, and what, as Buddhist, the fourfold assembly, Bhikkhu, Bhikkhuni, Upasaka, Upasika, what we should do now to protect the Buddha Sasana. I think the topic was given for this was like when they were publishing it, I think, is the Buddha Sasana complete without the Bhikkhunis? Is the fourfold assembly complete without the Bhikkhuni Sanga. Because it's very important for us to know that. If Buddha established fourfold assembly, if we only have now 3, is it complete? Is this how Buddha wished for? So these are the questions that that I was kind of thinking. So I'm going to share my thoughts on this. So let's go to the ancient time. In India, the setup was very different to the modern time. In India, the ladies were treated like the servants. The ladies' status was they were given a very low place. So they didn't have any freedom. They couldn't do anything as they wished. They were not given proper food. They were not given proper education. And if a girl was born as the firstborn into a family, they looked it up as like a very unfortunate incident. It was like bad luck because the ladies didn't have any value, any worth. So during a time like that, when the ladies were probably they were only treated better than the animals they had at that time, maybe. So during that time, there was a lot of suffering for the ladies. No one was there to listen to them. No one was there to help them. And they were always kept under the male. The males were taking charge of them. Firstly, father, then the husband, then the son. So the ladies have to be under their guidance. They were the directors, and lady could only do what they asked them to do. So ladies' job was to please the husband, be there for their needs, cook, clean, bring up the children, and that was it. She wasn't given any social status at all, and she was not someone capable of doing any important thing. That's how they're thinking at that time. So at a time like that, the Buddha came, and then here, the Buddha's mother come to Lord Buddha and ask, my dear Lord Buddha, can you please take me into your order? And during that time, Buddha explains to her, look, the way we live this renunciant life is not an easy life. It's very, it's not bound with luxury. In fact, it's being given up all the luxury and all the comforts. We just walk, and wherever we get to sleep, whether it's a forest under the tree or whether it's like a hut, we just sleep. If we get food, we eat, otherwise, no. So like that, this is a life of, what you call, very harsh in a sense. For a princess coming from the palace, this is very harsh. So it's not easy for her to adjust to this lifestyle. And Buddha can't just take Mahapajipati Gautami Therani with Buddha wherever he's going. And if Mahapajapati Gotami Therani came after Buddha, then the Yasodhara, Buddha's ex-wife, she also will follow, because there was no one in the palace at that time. King Suddhodana had passed away, and all the children is now they all ordained, and not even the grandson. So no one was there in the palace. So she would have followed Mahapajapati Gotami Therani too. Then what will happen? The Brahmins, at that time, they were really, some of them were very angry with Buddha. Some of them were very jealous, because Buddha actually reformed the society. You know, they had this very staunch caste system, where they believed in the caste, and they were doing things according to the caste system. So if someone was born to a low caste family, he would never have a chance to do something better or good. But Buddha said it's not by the birth that you become a low caste or outcast, it's by what you do. What you say, what you do determines who you are. It's not from birth. You will get the status whether you are a high person, higher in the society, or whether you are a low person in the society. So this really hurt the Brahmins, their beliefs and everything. So they were angry with Buddha, and they were waiting to attack Buddha. And you know, there were few well-planned, serious attacks. Like they were blaming the Buddha, and also they wanted to show the world that Buddha was someone who kept the women behind. And they wanted to prove Buddha had a child with this woman, Chinchimanika. So they set up a scene, and they wanted to bring Buddha and say he's the one who was responsible for this pregnancy. Look, they are just sure they are like renunciants, but look what they're doing behind the scene. And you know, there was another serious attack where they killed a prostitute and brought her to the monastery and hid her under the in the monastery site. And so everyone started believing in what they were saying. The Brahmin said, look, it's their prostitute. She was serving the Buddha and the Sangha there. And now that they had enough of her, they have killed and hid her. So some people believed at that time. So there were serious attacks directed at Lord Buddha to dismay him, to bring, you know, bad name to him, to discredit him. So if Buddha had ordained his mother and his ex-wife at that time, it would have been a big issue. It would have given a good reason for the Brahmins to start again throwing mud at Lord Buddha. So Buddha didn't respond to this personal request. One thing, it wasn't the time, the proper time, and also it was only a personal request from his mother. And Buddha wanted to tell her that this life is not going to be suitable to you while you're bathing in luxury, while you're living in luxury. You cannot really fathom this life, this way of life. So what Buddha said, he didn't say, I can't ordain you, or I don't want to ordain you. He didn't say that. He said, don't have the wish for this life, because you don't know what you're wishing for. So Mahapajapati Gotami mom, she went back. At that time, she was the Buddha's, she raised the Buddha. So let's call her mother instead of saying stepmother. Stepmother feels a bit uneasy. She wasn't a stepmother. She didn't have any qualities of a stepmother. She was like the real mother for the Buddha. Went back to the palace and just was unhappy that her son, the Lord Buddha, didn't help her in this. So when they were there was another problem. When Lord Buddha was in Nigrola Rama, this is in Kimbulwat Nuwara, in that city, their hometown, the Sakya Kolya, these two clans were about to go to a fight, to fight for the water in the Rohini River. They always had that fight for centuries. So this time they thought, we are going to kill each other, and we will show you who owns it, who has the power to control the water. So they were about to go to war. Buddha went and intervened, and he spoke to his people, the Sakyan, and asked them, is blood is more valuable or water has more value? Which one has the value? Now, after the war, it's not going to be the water that's flowing in the river, it's going to be blood. So which one is more valuable? So the people started to think. So what's the point of you shedding blood to own something that is less valuable? So it's foolish to do that. It's not worth. So they understood the life is more worth than the water. So they stopped going to war. And the Sakya, all these princes, they decided to leave the household life now. They were very impressed with the Buddha, and they decided to follow Buddha. So they went also to the forest with Buddha, where Buddha was living at that time. So there was about 500 people. So it's a big crowd. Now, after these prince, they all went to the forest, the ladies were alone now. So they started writing letters and everything to those monks, newly ordained monks, talking about their problems. You know, in India at that time, there was another thing, like the lady always had to be under this male's guidance. If the husband died, the ladies have to follow him to the pyre. You know, when the body is burning, lady willingly has to jump into that burning pyre and kill herself, or the others will throw her into that, whether she likes or not. So the wife has to follow the husband even after the death, because they saw the lady as a burden to the society. A single lady, a widow, is a burden to the society, because they believed the ladies didn't have any restraint, they were not virtuous, they are not capable of anything, they can be easily, tricked into do all kinds of wrong things, and like that. So even today in India, in rural villages, still this takes place. It's called Sati Puja. There's been movies made about this, and I think from the government it's prohibited now. There's laws against this, but I think still, but it continues in some areas. So that was the fate of the woman. If there is no husband, pretty much you can't really survive. So it was a huge issue for these 500 ladies. So they are on their own now. So they started writing letters to their husbands, but by then they are already monks. They were ordained. So then the monks were reading these letters, and they were thinking about their houses and, the homely affairs and everything, and they couldn't meditate properly. So Buddha saw this. Then Buddha addressed the problem. Buddha slowly took the monks and went into the middle of the forest. So now the messengers couldn't find the monks to deliver the letters. So the monks went inside, deep inside to the forest, and then Buddha taught them the Dhamma, and they practiced and they became arahats. Only after that they came out. But anyway, so when this is happening, when the monks went inside to the forest, now the ladies couldn't find them to communicate with. They got very angry. They went to see Yasodhara, Princess Yasodhara, and Mahapajapati Gautami princess. So they went and blamed them, started to argue with them. Look what your husband is doing. He tricked even our husbands to follow him, and blah, blah, blah. So they were very angry and blaming them. So Princess Yasodhara managed to calm them down, saying, you know, look, my husband left me with this little son. But, you know, I wasn't angry with him. I wished him well. I actually blessed him because he didn't go to find another woman, or he didn't look for more comfort or luxury. He renounced us because he wanted to find a solution to the suffering and help everyone. So even your husbands are following that path. So let's not be angry with them. Let's not disturb them. Let's help them. Let's bless them. So they also start to develop loving kindness and looked at this with a positive angle, and then they also calmed down. But then there's so many ladies now not knowing what to do. They have not much status in the society, but because they are princesses, I'm sure they were well looked after, but still they didn't know what to do. So Mahapajapati Gautami Theranin again went to see the Buddha and asked for the second time, you know, there's a lot of problems, issues. Can you please help me? Can you please take me to the order? I like to be with you. But even that time, Buddha said, don't wish for this life. It's not a lifestyle for a princess. So then Mahapajapati Gautami mom went back to the palace again, and very unhappy, stayed there. Then Buddha also slowly left Nigrodharama and went to Patna, Vaisali. So he was there. During that time, what happened? All that ladies who gathered to the palace, Mahapajapati Gautami mom managed to convince them, saying, she said to them, look, these places are like cemeteries now. Well, no one is here. We only have the dead memories, dead past. Only this past memories we have. We have no anyone here. So these are like, we are like living in the cemetery. No point we living in these palaces. What do we get from this? Nothing. So let's give this up. Let's give this up and let's follow Buddha to Vaisali. Let's follow him there. When we all go there and ask him to help us, so we also can find some freedom from all kinds of this physical and mental suffering. I'm sure he will help us. So what she did, she told them, well, we can't go there like princesses. We can't wear these beautiful clothes. We can't have these garlands, gems, all this jewelry. Let's get rid of them. So they threw that away. Because if they were going to walk like that, the thieves will come and hurt them, and also they are very beautiful. If they went like that, they would get raped. So Mahapajapati Gautami mom, she would have been the eldest there. She encouraged them and she told them, look, we can get rid of our hair too. Who wants this? Now we are not going to wear any beautiful flowers and garlands. Let's get rid of the hair too. So because for a woman, hair is their asset to attract people. Now they're not interested in attracting the opposite sex. So we don't need this. Their agenda is different in life now. It's not about wanting to live and survive. They want to find freedom from this mental suffering that they were going through. So then they shave their head too. Then they put on some very simple clothes like the robes. What Buddha was wearing, they also took piece of cloth and just put it around them. Then they were ready to now go to Vaisali. A lot of people in that town came and begged them not to go. They said, well, the King Suddhodana passed away. Well, our Prince Siddhartha left us. Well, the Prince Rahula left us. The Ananda, all these princes left us. So no one was there. Only you were here. Please don't leave us like this. Mahapajapati Gautami Mom said, well, no point we staying here. We are going to go. Sorry. And then they said, okay, well, we'll take you on our shoulders. We will get this horse cart to take you. You can't walk to Vaisali. You know how far it is from Kimbulwat, Nura city to the Patna, Vaisali. It's very far. Even today, I think it's about a day or two. It takes a day or two to get there by bus. So walking, I think it would have taken a few weeks, months to get there. So they offered them the vehicles. At that time, the vehicle was a horse cart, or people can carry them on shoulders. Dola, we call it. So then they refused that. They said, no, we can walk. This is how Buddha does things. This is how he moves from one place to another, just by foot. We are also just going to walk. So then they refused all the help. They just started walking towards Vaisali, like the renunciants. Even at that time, the tapasa or the renunciant form was also dominated by the male, not many female renunciants. It was all dominated society at that time. So this is not a very common scene for the people. But when there is 500 people, it would have opened their eyes. So it's like a protest now. Like, you know, in the protest, how a lot of people walk one behind each other. So they would have walked like that up to the Vaisali. So it's now, when they went to see Lord Buddha, the Venerable Ananda came. This is my thinking. You know, when there is this huge gathering, big protest of people coming to see Lord Buddha to Vaisali, to where Buddha was living, I'm sure the kings of that country, the Vajjis, would have known there is this mass of people coming to ask for the ordination. These ladies are coming to ask Buddha for the ordination, and I'm sure they would have heard from their CID and the, you know, whatever that intelligence services they have. There is this protest going on. So even Venerable Ananda may have heard. I don't know. This is what I think. Anyway, so looks like Venerable Ananda was prepared. So he went and met Venerable Pajapati Gautami Mom. She didn't ask. She wanted to meet Buddha. She didn't ask that. She said, can you please go and ask Buddha to ordain us? We came here to enter into the order. That's what she said. She said, can you please be the mediator? Because there is another rule with the Buddha, like people follow this. You only ask something only 3 times. After that, it's null and void. You will not ask about it. You will not get it. So if you are to get something from Buddha, a positive answer, you have to do it within 3 times. So now she already had missed 2 times. She only had 1 more chance. So she was very wise. So she made the Ananda Hamaduru, or the Venerable Ananda, the mediator. So Venerable Ananda Hamaduru, he went to see Lord Buddha and gave the message. Look, there is this mass of people have come. All these princesses, they have shaven their head and they have walked all this far. They have come from far away, from this Kimbulwat city to here, and some of them are bleeding, and they seem to be very tired, but they all have come safely. They all have endured this journey and now they are here, and they say they want to enter the order, Lord Buddha. And then the Venerable Ananda kind of went round and round and round and asked Lord Buddha, can the ladies get rid of their weaknesses? Because in the Brahmin society, they saw the women were weak physically and mentally. They saw that women are weak means, we have a difference between men and women. We need to understand this. Even the Westerners have recognized this. They say men are from Mars, women are from Venus. So physically, mentally, there is differences. How our body, the brain is working is different, totally different. So men are more strong physically and mentally. Women are weaker than the men, mentally and physically. What I mean when I say mentally means women are more emotional. But men, they are less emotional compared to the ladies. They use more the brain power, the thinking power. For example, when there's a problem, the men only thinks about how to solve this. So they use their brain and they calculate, they look for the what's the problem, how to solve it. They go like that. But when the women encounters a problem, what do we do first? First, they bring the hydraulic power. So the tears come first. And then only they start to think, and they can't do much without the man anyway. So most of the time, that's how it happens. But anyway, so these are the points that Brahmin had used to suppress the women, seeing their weakness, and they use that weakness to keep them down under their thumb, saying women are weak. So don't get me wrong. It's not me saying this. This is how our physiology, the brain is wired. And but the good news is women can transgress this. If they want to, if they work, they can manage their emotions. They can go above even a normal man, the mental state of a normal man, and they can even rise above and become an arahat, where no more emotions at all, where their mind is so calm, they can reach imperturbable serenity of the mind in the midst of any vicissitude of life. They will not cry, they will not get angry, they will not be afraid, they won't have lust, they will be free from all kinds of mental disturbances. That is what we call becoming an arahat. So they are capable of that. So that's what Venerable Ananda was asking now. Can the women do this? Can they transgress all these emotions, their weaknesses? The Buddha said, yes, they can. Because the Brahmins, they didn't believe in that. They just believe that they are emotional. So they even said there are slokas where they say the women's brain is like the stem of the spoon. In Sinhalese, we say hande mita wage. Ganunge mole hande mita wage. That means the lady's brain is only like the stem in the spoon, like it's very short-sighted. They don't have far sight, they don't think properly, they're incapable of thinking. That's what the Brahmin said. And also they said, you can trust anything and everything, but not what a woman says. So a woman is not someone honest, not someone trustworthy. That's what the Brahmin said. And so their belief was like that. And what they did, this is another thing we need to understand. When someone's mind is developed, a sign of a developed mind is they have a lot of unconditional love, kindness, compassion, all those good qualities embedded. So when someone has a developed mind, what they do, when they see someone weak, when they see someone suffering, they extend their hand naturally to raise their status, to help them to come out from that situation. But what happened there, they were not doing that. When the corrupted people get the power into their hand, they use the weak ones for their benefit, for their survival, for their betterment. They use a poor person or the weak people for their benefit. They misuse that power, and they abuse these weak people. That's normally what happens. But when someone is good, has the power, the first thing they do is they try to elevate the suffering of people who suffer. They like to lend a hand to raise these weak people to a higher status. This is what Buddha did. So Buddha said to the Venerable Ananda, yes, of course, if the chance is given, they can do that. So Venerable Ananda said, well, then what's the obstacle between? Why don't we ordain them? Then Buddha said, yes, they can get ordained. They have to follow these 8 Garudhammas, 8 rules. If they are happy to, if Mahapajapati Gautami is happy to listen to this, obey these 8 Garudhammas, she can join the order. Then Venerable Ananda went to Mahapajapati Gautami Therani and said, well, Buddha said this, if you like to obey these 8 Garudhammas, he's happy to let you into the order. So this is another thing that we need to understand, where the Western, especially the ladies, have not understood. You know, we are always about wanting equal rights. So in these 8 Garudhammas, they're all important, but one of the very, very important ones are, Buddha said, even if a bhikkhuni has 100 vasa, even they being ordained for 100 years, they should pay respect to a monk who gets ordained today. So, and also Buddha said, you can't really find faults with the monks. You can't argue with the monks. You can't fight with the monks. You should listen to the monks like that. So that they were the rules, part of these rules. So these are the things that the Western, the society challenges, thinking something, this is not coming from the Buddha. Some things they were only specifically for Venerable Mahapajapati Gautami Theri. And so something it's we don't have to follow that. But we must understand something that I want to clear here. Mahapajapati Gautami Therani was Buddha's mom. And also, you know, she was a princess. So the Sakyans were very proud. They were not some normal people. They were very proud people. You know, they got into trouble because of their pride. So she was coming from that background. In genes, there is this pride. And she's the mother. All mothers believe their children should listen to them. No mother is prepared to listen to the son or the daughter just because someone had become the Buddha or became ordained. No mother likes to listen to their children. That's in their genes. So Mahapajapati Gautami mom also showed these mom qualities very well. You know, there is a time, it's recorded, she wanted to offer a robe woven by her own hands to the Buddha. he thought, I haven't offered anything important to my son, who is the Buddha. So I want to offer something very valuable, something that's going to be useful to him. So she thought and thought and thought, and then she wove this robe with golden thread. And then she made the robe and she took it to Lord Buddha and said, well, I brought my son, I brought this for you. And Buddha said, offer it to the Mahasanga, not just for me, to everyone. And then Mahapajapati Gautami mom said, no, I don't want to do that. I brought this for you. I want to offer this to you. So she only wanted to offer it to her son, the Lord Buddha. Then for the second time also, she said that. She didn't listen to Buddha. Again, she said, I want to offer this. Can you please accept this, my dear son? So the Buddha, so the second time also, he said, Mahapajapati Gautami, please offer these to the Mahasanga. But she only would argue, she wouldn't listen to Lord Buddha. So moms are like that, you know, even our moms are like that. Even Venerable Sariputta's mother was like that. It was very difficult for Venerable Sariputta, who is the second in command, Lord Buddha's right hand, the one who was foremost in wisdom. His mother didn't listen to him. Only at the last minute, before he passed away, he managed to teach something to his mother. So mothers are like this. It's a quality in the mothers. They don't listen to their children. So imagine if Lord Buddha had allowed Mahapajapati Gautami Therani to enter into the order with that kind of a mentality, it would have been a mess. She would have tried to correct Lord Buddha. She would have tried to correct Venerable Ananda, Venerable Nanda, Venerable Rahula, because they all were her children, her relatives, grandchild. So like all mothers, she will be very busy finding faults with them and trying to correct them and to raise them. So what Lord Buddha did, he gave the best injection. He said, you're not allowed to find faults with the monks. You're not allowed to argue with the monks. You can't do that. You're only supposed to listen to them. And you have to respect them. No matter what, not even the seniority counts here, you have to respect them. So, Mahapajapati Gautami Therani, whatever the ego, that pride or she had, she just had to tuck it in. She had to realize, if I'm coming into the order, I have to mind my business. I can't be a busybody looking after the monks. You know, practically, I'm sure some of you may also have the experience. I've been in monasteries where the mothers of the monks, some monks, mothers also, like they wear white and like upasikas or anagarikas, they are there in the monasteries. But in those monasteries, there's a lot of problems. Why the mother takes in charge? Why she is the mother of the monk? So she don't listen to the monk, the son, or she don't listen to anyone else at all. So there is many problems. So I have seen this happening. So I'm sure it would have happened during that time too, if Lord Buddha just allowed the Mahapajapati Gautami to go forward, just like that. But he didn't do that. He blocked her. He specifically put these rules to bring her pride down, to show her her role, what she should be doing. She can be ordained, but she need to behave, she need to be disciplined. You know, the ladies, normally when they get angry, they can argue with anyone and everyone. They don't care who they're arguing with. They will cry and argue and fight. But now you can't do this. You cannot express your emotions that way to the Mahasanga. So Venerable Mahapajapati Gautami Theri accepted that. he said to the Venerable Ananda, okay, I will behave myself. I accept this. Like you putting a garland onto me, I take this on board. I take it with bowed head. And I will keep this until I die. I respect this. Because now, you know, it's she knows it's very difficult to come into the order. Now that she heard the word, if you do this, you can come in, she's like, wow, any deal I will take it. If Buddha had asked her to stand on her head, she would have done it. So Buddha made her to do that. She waited for the right time. Because if he had given it for the first time when she asked, Buddha would have had to set up a temple near Kibulwatawara, where it's like a palace again, where she can live with luxury and where she will get anything and everything as she wish, and she will be able to spank the Venerable Ravana because he's her grandchild. But all this nonsense was stopped. Now she had proved that they can bear this monastic life, the harsh life. They are not looking for luxury. They have given up the luxury. They can survive in the forest. They can live like these monks. And also now, this is not a personal request. When she comes with 500 women, it's a social need. So now Buddha is not listening to a personal request, but he is listening to a need in a society. 500 people are requesting this. So that was the right time for the Buddha to give forth, for them, allow them to go forth. So that's what Buddha did. And also Buddha fixed Mahaprajapati Gautami Therani's pride. So he can't be the mother of the Buddha. He can't act like the mother of the Buddha and telling everyone off, look, I'm the mother of the Buddha, you are doing this wrong, blah, blah. He can't go around and find faults with the monks. He can't, she can't do anything now. She only can do her own practice. She has to mind her own business. So when she accepted that, the Venerable Ananda went and told the Buddha, she accepted that. She said, yes, she's happy to take that on board and she will follow that the rest of her life. Then Buddha said, well, that is her ordination. She's being accepted to the order. Okay, now she came in. So she managed to get what she wanted. But her views about the Sangha, the life, the Buddha, everything being changed now. It's all transformed. She being put on her place. She realized who she is, what she has to do if she's in the order. Then Venerable Ananda came back and gave that news. Yes, okay, Buddha said, now you are accepted the order. So she was very happy. Then the question came about the other 500 women. So Venerable Ananda went back again to Buddha and said, what are we going to do with that mass of the people? There's about 500 ladies there. Then Buddha said, well, you can give ordination. All the monks get together and the Bhikku Sanga should ordain the ladies now. So then Venerable Ananda organized that, and the Bhikku Sanga gave the ordination to the rest of the ladies. So all 500 also they got the high ordination. They all became nuns now. Now, again, there is this very prominent defilement in women. It's in a sutta that Buddha points out one of the core wishes in a woman's heart is to dominate. This is in a sutta. So this is why, when this is very prominent in our culture, like in India, in Sri Lanka, where after getting married, when someone leaves, and if they come back, the son or the daughter, they come back with their partner, the parents, the father can live with any number of son-in-laws. There won't be any problems, any conflicts. But there is this historical issue. I mean, it's coming from ages where the mother-in-law can't live with one daughter-in-law under one house. Issues bound to happen. Why? They both want to dominate. You can't have two queens in one palace. So the problems come. So this is a quality in the ladies. So this same problem erupted after this ordination. These ladies who just got the ordination now, they started pointing the finger at Venerable Prajapati Bhikkhuni Theri and said, well, she didn't receive the ordination by the monks. So she's not ordained. Now she has to bow down to us. She needs to be ordained now. And she's younger to us, so she has to be ordained now. So we are the more senior ones, and she's younger to us. So all this, chit-chat started going behind, and Venerable Ananda heard that. So Venerable Ananda went and said, well, there is this chit-chat. They say Venerable Gautami Prajapati Gautami Theri is not ordained. So Buddha said, no, her ordination was just accepting that 8 Garudhammas was her entry into the full ordination. So that got settled. But what I want to point out here is that defilement, how it just came, wanting to rule the most elder person in that community and the one who really lead them to take them there. It's because of her they all received the ordination, but first thing they wanted to do is stand up on her shoulders and crush her to the ground, and they wanted to be the most senior ones. These are the defilements. So when Buddha placed these Garudhammas, he took all that into count. And it's in Bhikkhuni Vinaya, where we can't fight. We can't argue with lay people. We can't, fight. It's the Vinaya. We have to respect the seniors, the elders. So they all came to help us to get rid of our defilements. So this 8 Garudhammas actually applies to all of us, because those qualities were not only present in Venerable Prajapati Gautami Theri, but all the ladies has those qualities in their genes. So for us to transgress them, we need these rules to help us. So I personally believe we must follow the 8 Garudhammas. It's not about a quality inequality. Here we fight for the equal rights and all that, but this is not about rights. This is about we fixing our ego, our pride, and we having harmony in the Sangha society. Buddha actually says to Venerable Ananda, look, there would have been big damage to the Sasana if I didn't put these 8 Garudhammas. Now that I have put them in place, the Sasana will be okay. You imagine if these princesses came there and they started to run their own show, because she's the mother of the Buddha. Imagine the disgrace that would have come towards the Sangha, having with all these arguments and fights and, there have been a mess. But now it was all under control. So I believe it's not about Buddha putting us down. It's about helping us to be to know who we are and to be in our place. So Buddha told the monks, the Bhikku Sanga, you are like the elder brother, and the Bhikkhunis are like your younger sister. So he told the monks to look after the younger sister. So it's he appointed the monks to go and teach to these Bhikkhunis and look after these Bhikkhunis. And the Bhikkhunis have to look up to their elder brothers, not fight, not argue, but with respect. So the elder brother has to look after them with loving kindness and with compassion and help them to raise their status. And the younger sister have to be respectful towards the elder brother. be respectful to the Sangha and listen to them, be obedient, knowing that they are only teaching them, doing all good to help them to raise their status, help them to become arahats. So when they were actually listening to Venerable Nanda Thero, Bhikkhu Nanda Thero was appointed to teach the Bhikkhunis, and when they were listening to his instructions, these Bhikkhunis became arahats. It's called the the discourse that was given by the Nanda, instructions to the Bhikkhunis. But before that, before everyone, Venerable Mahapajapati Gautami Theri became an arahat. So after she became an arahat, she also started teaching the Bhikkhunis, and even though the Bhikkhunis were trying to climb on her shoulders, she was very compassionate. With a lot of loving kindness and compassion, she actually taught the nuns and ordained the new nuns and like that. And she did her best until she lived up to 120. So when she reached 120, she decided this is enough. I better not wait until the Buddha passes away. I think it's time for me to go. I have done my job to the Sasana. I've done a lot as a 120-year-old old lady. Now I had enough, she thought. And she thought it's time for me to pass to Parinibbana. And she, with the other nuns, they also decided, when Venerable Prajapati Gautami Mahan said this, now they are also arahats. They don't have that pride or anything. They also have transformed, and they are also arahats. They also decided there is all these young nuns now. The Bhikkhuni order is established. We no longer need to be here. Our mother, Venerable Prajapati Gautami Theri, is going to pass away. We also going to follow her. So everyone again went to Kutagara. That's in Vaisali. The Lord Buddha was living there at that time. When Mahapajapati Gautami Theri decided to pass away, Buddha was living in Kutagara. So Mahapajapati Gautami Theri, Rahatan Theri. So she went to see Lord Buddha and said, Lord Buddha, it's time for me to now pass away. You know, I raised you up. I suckled you. You were brought up from my own milk. But you fed me with the Dhamma milk. You quenched my thirst with the milk of Dhamma. So you don't owe me anything. You know, the children can't repay their parents. The children owe the parents so much for what parents have done to the kids. So Mahapajapati Arahat Gautami Theri is saying now, well, Lord Buddha, you don't owe anything to me because I have raised you. You have nurtured me with the milk of Dhamma. And yes, even though I'm your mother, you are my mother. You made me born into the Sangha. You gave me the second life to be born in the order of the Sangha. So like that, it's very nice, that conversation. And then she says, so thank you very much for helping me, and also so I could find freedom from all kinds of physical and mental suffering, and I'm so happy now, and also I'm looking forward to the Parinibbana, because even then I can free myself from all the physical suffering. So she said, if you like, Venerable Lord Buddha, if you like, please put your legs forward, and I should be able to venerate it one last time. And I take that as a sign that you have accepted my request. So the Lord Buddha actually put his legs forward. So it says she just, dropped her head on his feet and bowed down, and she said, this is the last time I'm kneeling down in front of you, and like that.
And then she asked for forgiveness. This is another very important point I want to make. She asked for forgiveness. She said, Lord Buddha, if I have hurt you anyway by asking for this, wanting to come into the order, starting this Bhikkhuni order, please forgive me if I have hurt you in any way. The Lord Buddha says, you don't need to ask for forgiveness. You haven't done anything wrong, so I don't need to forgive you. There's no reason, so don't ask for forgiveness. So if people see Buddha was really reluctant to give this and it was wrong, all wrong, that these ladies went and got this ordination by force, it's wrong. If she had done something wrong, at that time Buddha would have forgiven her and also would have said something. Because Buddha never keeps things under the carpet. If someone has done something wrong, he always would admonish. But here, Buddha didn't say anything to her. Buddha said, no need to ask forgiveness. You haven't done anything wrong. No. So that's one point. And also, if people are saying that Buddha refused to the ladies for the order, that is actually a wrong view. They are taking the conversation between the Buddha and his mother and generalizing it to all women. That's where we are going wrong. Buddha didn't refuse women to the order. This was just happening, a conversation between the Lord Buddha and the mother. And I showed you the reasons why Lord Buddha refused the princess mother. With reasons, with good reasons. But we shouldn't generalize it for all the women and saying, oh, Buddha didn't want to offer the ordination, higher ordination to the ladies. No, that's wrong. When Buddha became Buddha, the Mara comes and says, now you got what you wanted. Now you became the Buddha. So please die. Please attain Parinibbana. That's what Mara said. He said, die. So Buddha answers to him then. Buddha says, no, Mara, I'm sorry. I'm not going to die now. I'm going to establish the fourfold assembly. Bhikkhu, Bhikkhuni, Upasaka, Upasika. Male renunciants, female renunciants, ladies and gentlemen who will observe precepts and who will live a good life with ethics and morals, Upasaka and Upasikas. So Buddha said, I'm going to establish this fourfold assembly and I'm going to wait until they are going to be strong. When they are strong enough to dispel any wrong beliefs and put forth this true Dhamma and they manage to convince someone with that, I will wait until they are strong to dispel all these wrong beliefs. When that time comes, after they are strong, I will die. So when Buddha started the Buddhahood, straight after he becoming the Buddha, he had a plan in his mind, how he is going to spread his vision. He already had in his mind, I will allow the men to go forth, I will allow the women to go forth. I will help both of them. The Buddha, we say Buddha observed this paramitas for eons and eons and eons, developing his mind until he became the Buddha. We say in Sinhala, Sara Sankalpa Lakshayak Mululle Perum Purva Kela. So Buddha was doing all this penance and developing himself for long, long time in samsara, not just to help the men to get enlightened, not just to help men to find freedom from suffering, but his effort was to help men, women, if possible, all beings. It wasn't just for one particular race. We need to understand this. So his effort was for everyone. So when he became the Buddha, he already had in mind how I'm going to establish my sasana. Bhikkhu, Bhikkhuni, Upasaka, Upasika. So he said that. Then who are we to say, oh, later Buddha changed his mind and Buddha actually didn't want the women in here. That's someone's personal view and they have a personal agenda. The Brahmins never wanted women to be in a raised pedestal. They always believe women are rubbish. So here the Brahmins are spreading this. And actually they are accused of Venerable Ananda. As soon as Buddha passed away, these voices were behind when Buddha was alive. They didn't really come outside. But the minute that Buddha passed away, oh, they came and attacked Venerable Ananda and said, why did you help women to come to the order? They're accused of Venerable Ananda. So you can see they couldn't take this with their mentality. So they continued against the Bhikkhuni order even from at that time. So what Buddha had done is a radical thing. No one else had done at that time. Always these societies were dominant societies. Why? Because the male are strong, so they use that strong strength and abuse the weak. But what Buddha did, he liberated these weak beings. He gave the hand to the weaker ones to come to raise their status. And not just the ladies took his hand and came to a normal state, but they went even above the normal state to a supernormal state. They exceeded the capacity of a normal man. There were ladies who became arahants. So, when Mahapajapati Gautami was paying respect to Lord Buddha and wanting to go and attain the Mahaparinibbana, wanting to die, then Buddha invited her and said, well, you know, a lot of people think the ladies are good for nothing. They think ladies can't do much. Now that you have transgressed all the weaknesses and you have attained the super heights, you have attained psychic powers, you have got rid of all the defilements and you have become a fully fledged arahat, not just an arahat. Show the world what you have gained, what the feet that of women can rise. So it's in our Vinaya, we cannot really show our psychic powers. We cannot show off. It has to be tucked in. You know, the only psychic power we can use is to teach the Dhamma. We can see the mind of the people and we can tailor the talk according to feed their mind, to help them to understand the Dhamma. That's the only psychic power we can use. Other psychic powers we cannot display. But here, Buddha is inviting Mahapajapati Gautami Maharahat Therani to display her psychic abilities. So the people who thought ladies are good for nothing can change their view, to help change their view. So I guess from all the women who was there, Mahapajapati Gautami was the most excellent one there. The minute Buddha invited her, she rose to the sky. And she created these lotuses and she sat on one and she made herself many and like that. And then the other nuns also, the 500, including the Buddha's ex-wife, you know, Venerable Yasodhara. They all rose up and they all did this display. So it would have been like watching magic. You know, today we go to, in some countries like in Disneyland, in Farmos Island, in Singapore, in here, where you have these light shows where they project it to the sky or to the water, and they show a lot of things like they are not real, but it's just shadows or the images, but it looks like real. I'm sure you have seen those shows. It's like magic. We all look up and wow, we get lost in there. So Mahapajapati Gautami Theri would have done that. So everyone would have watched this show in the sky. And after displaying those psychic powers, she came down with all the other nuns. And then for one last time, she paid respect, and she said, you know, excuse me, may I depart now? So I want to tell you another point. She actually thanked Venerable Ananda when this was happening, because Venerable Ananda was not an arahant, he was sad. And she could see that sadness, and she said to Venerable Ananda, you know, the effort you took to help us to enter into the vein is not in vain, enter into the order. Even the 7-year-old children, the girls, are now getting the benefit. They are becoming arahants. They are freeing themselves from suffering. So thank you so much for helping us to establish this order. Thank you so much to helping us to find freedom from suffering. So she showed the gratitude towards Venerable Ananda, and then, you know, she took final, she started to leave. And then she went up to the gate and looked back. One last time, I'm looking at the place where Lord Buddha is residing. This is the last time I will see that place. You know, it was like, for the first time in Buddha's life, Buddha had walked behind someone. Buddha never walks behind someone. We call it in Sinhalese pasugaman. He never does that. But to respect this Bhikkhuni mother, the qualities of that Bhikkhuni mother, to honor that Bhikkhuni, Buddha walked behind her like a child walking behind a mother. And he went and stopped where the door was in that Kutagara Sala. So when Venerable Mahapajapati Gautami Arahat Therani looked back from the gate, he saw Buddha was standing and looking at her. So she paid the last respect there. And then it says, after she said goodbye, again, she and all the other nuns rose up to the sky. And from the sky, from astral travel, I think we call it astral traveling, whatever, through the psychic powers, they went back to their monasteries. When they got ordained, another thing, very important thing happened, you know, I forgot. When they got ordained, the society accepted this lady's ordination, because at that time, the ladies were not really given the proper status in the society, so they were not good for anything. But by the time when Mahapajapati Gautami Theri arrived at the door of this Bhutagara Sala, and by then when they got the ordination, the king, the Vajji kings, they prepared places quickly. You know, it's not easy to find accommodation for 500 people, but that all came together very quickly. So that means, that's what I think, they were prepared, they were prepared for this, and they were watching what's going to happen, what will be the Buddha's respond to this. But they were prepared, so they arranged the places, the temples, the monasteries for these 500 nuns to stay. So they lived there most of their time. Looks like they have lived there. So they got the best support. So Buddha actually waited for the right time, the right place for this to take place. No one can argue with that when you look into the history of this, how it took place. And when these ladies went to pass away, this is what I was going to say, the other thing. So they went from the sky, and then they came down to their places, the monasteries, and they sat down in the meditation posture and went into the meditation, and then they pass away to the final parinibbana. So imagine having 500 bodies. You imagine what the gods did, the celestial beings, the angels, the devas, they came and put apikena uduviyan kiyala in Sinhala, like the cover, a golden you know, cover on top of them, and palas, the carpet, they put a golden carpet under them. So they were all in between this golden carpet and this golden canopy. And so the see the how much these ladies raised their status. These bhikkhunis were even venerated by the angels, the devas, the gods. Their final moments are taken care by the gods, by these devas. So after that, they got cremated. But the point is that they proved how the capacity that the ladies has. Yes, we are weak. We have the weaknesses, but we can overcome them. We can transgress them. And they transform themselves, not just to a normal lady, not just to a state of a normal man, but above the normal status to a supernormal state, arahathood. And even from the arahat, you know, they all have grades. Venerable Mahapajapati Bhikkhuni Theri was a full-fledged arahat, not just an arahat, with all the psychic powers. So Buddha invited her to show this to the society, what the women can do. So it was Buddha who helped to raise the status of the women. So it was done with a lot of resistance because of this Brahmin's views. So now that Buddha had established this with all these, you know, obstacles lying around, after he done that, so it's our duty to continue this. If we lose one fold, now Buddha's wish is to have fourfold assembly. So if we, you know, with time, if we lose one fold, we need to fix it. This Buddha Sasana is lying on like the 4 tires. This vehicle will only run properly if all these 4 tires have the air. They're in proper condition. The Buddha Sasana, we can spread the Buddhism to the 4 corners of the world. Many people can benefit from this. Many can find freedom from suffering, because this is the way to do it. But if one fold goes without, you know, it breaks, no air on that tire, well, this is not going to run properly. So it's our duty to fix it. Otherwise, this shows there is an imbalance in the people's minds at that time. Because this is a good indicator to see whether the people's minds are developed minds. It's in a good condition. Because it's only when the people's minds are in a highly developed state, in a good condition, they will look after the weak. When they start to, the ones who have power, it's always the men, or they will always dominate as long as they are using their brain more than the women. That will be the case. So if when they are in power, if they are not looking after women and they are putting them down, they're not helping them to come up, that means there's an imbalance. Here there is a power abuse. Why it's happening? People's minds are getting corrupted. Then developing, it's going down. Like Mahatma Gandhi says, by looking at how a nation treats the animals, you can judge that nation. The qualities of the people in that country, you can judge whether they are good people or bad people by looking at how they treat the animals. You see, it's a sign of the greatness that you help raise the weak. You help the weak, the poor, the struggling. So in the sasana, if the weak ones are left alone and we start to say, oh, no bhikkhunis, women can't get ordained, there's a problem here. So it's indicating we are not using the Dhamma to develop ourselves, to raise ourselves. The ones who have power, more corrupted than being developed. So we need to fix it. So otherwise what will happen, one by one, the air will blow. One by one, the tires will, you know, blow off, and the Buddha Sasana is going to be immobilized very soon. So if any one fold is missing, we need to fix it real. That's what I think. The best thing we can do to help Buddha, because Buddha Buddha was determined to have fourfold assembly. So who are we to say now it's only 3? Who are we? If we are following Buddha's footsteps, we should be following his advice. So if one fold is missing, we need to fix it quickly. That's what we have to do, because this is not our sasana. So now the argument is, those days we had bhikkhunis, now there's no bhikkhunis. In Sri Lanka, now I have to come to this modern times. What's happening now? At that time, yes, we had bhikkhunis, and they proved they can go beyond this normal women status and rise above, become even supernormal. And now what happened? This nun's lineage from India, Venerable Sangamitta Maharahat Therani, brought it to Sri Lanka. And in Sri Lanka, the bhikkhunis flourished. And from Sri Lanka, around 123, there was this nun called Devasara, with the invitation from a Chinese king in Nantian. They went with in the ship called with the Nandi, the captain, ship captain. You know, those days monks would travel to spread Buddhism with the merchants on the Silk Road. So what happened? This nun Devasara also was very brave. She didn't hesitate to accept the invitation. She went to China with some other bhikkhunis. And then they started the Bhikkhuni lineage in this Nantian area. There's about, I think, 300 nuns, bhikkhunis were ordained there. And then from there, this Bhikkhuni lineage has continued. Now, there is one problem they are pointing out is that today, so when there is no bhikkhunis in Sri Lanka, I mean, today means about a few centuries ago, but when the Buddhism was coming into contact with West, they were questioning why the women can't go forth, why the women can't be in the order. So everyone kept looking at each other's face and said, well, there is no bhikkhuni to ordain another bhikkhuni. So they started to research on what happened to the bhikkhunis? How come there is no bhikkhunis? So when they were researching, they found out this history. It's in historical records in Sri Lanka that the Sri Lankan bhikkhunis went to China and ordained the Chinese bhikkhunis with this Theravada Vinaya Karma, with the Theravada code of conduct. They ordained the Chinese bhikkhunis, and from there the Chinese bhikkhuni lineage started. So now the argument is coming, they are following the Mahayana ideals. It's some differences in philosophy. You know, after Lord Buddha passed away, after 100 years, there was a split in the philosophy. People were trying to say, some said we like to become like the Buddha. So we don't have to really be so strict here and now. We are going to develop our paramis, and we are going to take the Bodhisattva vow, and we are interested in helping everyone to be free from suffering. And only after everyone has freed themselves from suffering, I will attain Nibbana. So they call themselves Bodhisattvas. And there was some other people at that time said, no, Buddha's Dhamma is to be used here and now. First, we have to free ourselves from suffering. So we are going to become arahats. So the ones who were following the Bodhisattva vow were in majority. They are called Maha, means big. They were the majority, the young ones. And then these ones who said we are interested in becoming arahats here and now in this life, they were very little, few, but they were elders. The elders are called Stivira. But compared to Maha, they were Hina. Hina means small, few numbers. So the Stiviras, the elders, are few, so they became Hinayana, and then Theravada. Then the Bodhisattva vow, the ones who took the Bodhisattva vow are called the Mahayanis. This is nothing to do with, the real Buddhism. The core of the Buddhism is the same. They also believed in the the way out of suffering is Noble Eightfold Path. They believe in the Four Noble Truths. So in China at that time, it was this Mahayanis who were there, but it was a Theravada Bhikkhunis who went and started the Bhikkhuni order. So it's according to the Theravada Vinaya Karma. So if we are talking about the Vinaya Karma, they are not Mahayanis, they are Theravadians. What they study, the philosophy can be Mahayana. That's a different thing. So in the first place, to call them Mahayana Bhikkhunis is wrong. They are Theravada Bhikkhunis. But the argument came, they are not Theravada Bhikkhunis, but they are Mahayana. No, when we look at the history, they are Theravada Bhikkhunis, and they are keeping the precepts the same as this Theravada. They're being ordained according to the Vibhajyavada and the Dharmagupta. They all like the Theravada. So now when they researched into this, they found out, yes, this lineage is alive. In China, from there to Taiwan, from there to Korea, to Japan, Vietnam. So this lineage is alive, even though the lineage in Sri Lanka died down due to the wars and all these problems that was there. So what happened later in, the modern history, we know there was one ordination in 1988 in Shilai Temple in South California. It was from the Foguan Shan tradition. So they had ordained 11 Theravada Bhikkhunis there. 5 Sri Lankan Bhikkhunis got ordained and some Thai, Burmese like that. And I think it was about 200 or 500 Bhikkhunis. I think about 200 Bhikkhunis were ordained there. And few Theravada Bhikkhunis. So these 5 Theravada Bhikkhunis also from Sri Lanka, they returned to Sri Lanka, but none of them have denounced. I have met one. So there is one from still alive in Sri Lanka. But then the ordination that mostly widely accepted was the ordination that was done in India, Saranath in 1996. And there were few challenges to that. So they arranged another one in 1988 in Bodh Gaya. So I think it was about 10 Bhikkhunis from each. And they went back to Sri Lanka. And now there are centers in Sri Lanka where some monks have taken leadership to train the Bhikkhunis. And there's about 1,000 Bhikkhunis now. And they found out there's an unbroken lineage. Even though they call themselves Mahayana Bhikkhunis, but they are from the Theravada tradition. So they ignited the same flame from them. So there is arguments still, but when you look at it rationally and logically, it's very apparent that this lineage is alive and it's still the same flame that is continuing. So today there are Bhikkhunis. So we need to know this, and we have to work hard, everyone who understands this, to keep this alive, because it's very important to keep the fourfold assembly, because it shows the balance. We have to have the balance between the men and the women, the monastics and the lay. That's what it is. So this is an indicator whether the Dhamma is working, whether we are following the Dhamma. If we are following, there should be balance between Bhikkhu, Bhikkhuni and between the lay and the monastics. So everything should be in harmony. When there is no harmony, when there's disharmony, when there is one is broken, there's a big problem. So it indicates a problem. So my idea is that we need to attend to it and fix it. So we all again come to a pure mind status, like we can raise our minds and help ourselves to free ourselves from suffering. Otherwise, what it shows is we are not following the Dhamma. That's what it is, basically. So I think I have talked enough, and I'll give you the opportunity to share your ideas. Now, because I had a WhatsApp call coming from overseas, when that call comes, my volume drops. So when you talk, I can't hear. So I just have to log out and log in. So until that, I would like the moderator to take over.
Thank you, Bhikkhuni Bodhicitta. Now, I would like to invite Bhikkhuni Bodhi to say a few words. What type of challenges that she has faced, or the problems or issues in the modern society, and if any responsibilities to share with us.
I do. First of all, I want to congratulate Bhikkhuni Bodhicitta for a very well organized and systematic presentation of the Bhikkhuni tradition from the very beginning to now. And it is really a very insightful presentation, and I benefited from that. Thank you very much. On challenges, I think we face challenges not as a bhikkhuni, but just as any living being would face challenges. But I would like to explore further the possibility of this Zoom discussions, Zoom analysis of issues, of Dhamma issues that can further deepen our understanding in Dhamma, and how Dhamma can be applied in resolving differences in opinions, differences in views. I find that if Bhikkhu, Bhikkhuni, or the fourfold assembly work and live within the Dhamma Vinaya, then I think we are working to improve Dhamma Sasana. As for the individual opinions of different people who make noises outside of Dhamma, I think we should just leave them be as noises. Because eventually, it is Dhamma Vinaya that counts. It's not individual noise or outside, non-Dhammic noise. I call it noise because it is non-Dhammic. So, how to, Bhikkhunis, of course, can make advances if each and everyone work and practice within the Dhamma Vinaya. So this applies to the other threefold, the Bhikkhu, Upasika, Upasika. Of course, that aside, I think we still have work to do among the Bhikkhunis. For instance, we don't come together very much. In each country, the Bhikkhu, or sometimes the Bhikkhunis just work on their own. I think we can improve the connection among us in promoting better understanding of Vinaya, especially. Because there are certain rules, like Venerable Bodhicitta explained the 8 Garudhamma very well. And also the historical background, the context that lead to Buddha's ruling on the 8 Garudhamma. Or the 8 Garudhamma, like all Vinaya, actually are not meant to restrain anybody or to restrain the freedom of anybody, but it's actually helping us with restraining our own mind, restraining our own defilement. I would like, though, if from this meeting, we can sort of hold regular Zoom session on analyzing modern application of the rules of Vinaya, Bhikkhuni Vinaya. There are certain rules, for instance, I find that each bhikkhuni actually uses the flexibility in interpreting it. Certain rule like Sanga Disesa Theri, the Bhikkhuni Sanga Disesa Theri on traveling alone. And then certain minor rules like on handling gold and silver or money. Many bhikkhunis, I think, interpret this differently, and quite a number of them, are quite flexible in the way that these rules are interpreted. What concerns me is Sanga Disesa Theri. I think that needs to be looked into in depth. I do not know whether Venerable Bodhicitta would like to add to this. If in future, perhaps that we can have regular Zoom sessions and look into each of these rules in greater details on how they could be applied and amicably in modern times, in modern context.
Yeah, I think I will look into it, and let's see actually whether the Buddhist embassy could arrange something like that. The Bhikkhunis could meet up weekly and discuss. I'm sure they will support that. So thank you very much for raising that, and I would give my full support for that too. Also, with the Vinaya, yes, when it comes to the modern times, sometimes things need to be, I think, addressed. But I guess it's about we not changing the Vinaya, but according to, whichever the situation we live. And if we are the ones who know whether this is helping us to reduce our defilements and to get rid of our defilements, or if we don't follow it, whether it'll hinder our practice, we know that. So I think it's individually, we should be able to kind of talk and discuss and do things, but I think we should not touch the Vinaya in the sense not to change or not to make any precedents, but I'm sure we can talk and we can find some solutions to the problems that we are facing today. No?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good idea that I will talk with the Buddhist embassy, and also you can have my WhatsApp number. I will I think when our brother visitor Lila Ratna can forward my WhatsApp number to you, so you can be in touch with me, and if you have forwarded to him, I will have yours too, so we can personally talk and let's see what we can come up with.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Bodhicitta and Bhikkhuni Bodhi. We have been having some discussions with bhikkhus in United States, regular meetings that I have organized with 6 temples originally when we celebrate the Vesak, International Online Vesak, and also the Posong. There are other bhikkhunis that I am in touch in the United States and Canada. So we could invite and have a discussion group to expand to the Sri Lankan bhikkhunis and other parts as well, I believe, for any type of review or anything. So I will also discuss with the bhikkhunis and how we can incorporate and have joint or separate meetings for the bhikkhuni versus there. So I will. I have already sent the Buddhist Embassy email to the Bhikkhuni Bodhi, and then we can. It's BuddhistEmbassy@gmail.com. It's a very simple altogether. BuddhistEmbassy@gmail.com, and also we BuddhistEmbassy@gmail.com.
Any big or small letters in the name?
All same. Either way.
Oh, okay. At gmail.com. Okay.
Yeah, at
okay,
Gmail. So my name is Visita. So we will connect that way. We have some questions from the audience. So I would open the floor to the our audience to ask questions, and they can turn on the mic and direct to either or both bhikkhunis now. Thank you.
Teruvan Saranai. Ahinawadha?
Teruvan Saranai.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I found out that I think maybe I am wrong. My name is Chandra Tilaka. I am in United States, and I found out that Buddha gave actually, even those days, Buddha had equal rights and very equal share in everything. Even in one case, he offered. He had 8 robes that was offered to both sanghas at the place where there was only 1 nun and 4 monks. And then Buddha divided the robes in half and given to them, but 4 to 1 nun, just 1 nun over there, and the other 4 to the 4 monks over there. So because the robes were for both sanghas, and then the Buddha divided them equally. So to give that equal opportunity for both groups. So, and because those days the nuns, they tended to receive very few invitations for to go to lay people's houses. So then Buddha had all those offerings go to the monastery and equally divided between those 2 Sangha communities. So, I mean, that way Buddha showed to the community, the lay people and everybody, that the equal rights for the women, I mean the bhikkhunis and the bhikkhus, so that way. Thank you so much.
Thank you for commenting. Thank you. Yes, Buddha always looked after both the bhikkhu and the bhikkhunis with same love and kindness and with compassion. Buddha's mind was unconditioned. He had unconditional loving kindness, and yes, so you can see this, that he looked after the same way that he looked after the bhikkhus. Buddha looked after the nuns too, the bhikkhunis too, with a lot of love and kindness and compassion. Thank you for pointing that out.
Any
I have
thoughts?
nothing to add. It's a very yeah. I have nothing to add. It's a very good.
Any other questions from the audience today? So looks like that we have no other questions. So we will thank both Venerable Bodhicitta Theri and Bhikkhuni Bodhi Theri, also the support from our audience. And until next time, thank you very much. So I will ask both Bhikkhuni Bodhicitta Theri and Bhikkhuni Bodhi to end with the program with according to the Buddhist tradition. Thank you.
Would you like to do that, Venerable?
I think Venerable Bodhicitta, please you lead. Venerable Bodhicitta, please lead.
Please lead. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I would like to thank firstly the Mahasangha who have been supporting this fourfold community, and especially who've been supporting and looking after and helping the Bhikkhunis who helped to revive the Bhikkhuni Sanga order and who is now supporting to continue that lineage. I would like to really pay my humble respect to them, and also would like to really thank or share the merits with brother Visitor Lila Ratna for founding this Buddhist embassy and doing a lot of work to spread Buddhism, and also especially taking interest in reviving and helping and supporting the Bhikshuni lineage to continue. So I would like to thank him for organizing today's talk and giving us the opportunity to share our knowledge on this. And also I would like to share the merit with Bhikkhuni Bodhi who joined with us today. And also I would like to share the merit with every one of you who joined in to listen into this talk, and with whoever listened to this in the future. So may all of you benefit from these merits. May you all find good health and long life. And may these merits bring causes and conditions for all of you to find success and victory, whatever the things that you do in your life, or may all the aspirations come true. And also may all these merits bring you all closer to Nibbana. Especially I would like to share my merits with Bhikkhuni Bodhi, that whatever you do in your life, the practice of the Buddha Dhamma and the meditation, may they all go well. And may all the efforts that you take to spread Buddhism around the world, may they be successful. May you be blessed with strength and courage to continue with your good work to spread Buddhism. And one fine day, may you attain Nibbana as soon as possible. May all of you be well, comfortable, peaceful, and happy. Take care. Theriwan Saranai.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Theriwan Saranai, අපේ බික්කුණීන් වහන්සේට.
Theriwan Saranai.
Sadhu.